Good evening everyone, and welcome back to Chaosville, and I shall be your master of horror for the evening, lying in bed once. So, I have shifted the Witchery stuff down here, which includes this big circle that I've been using to bind waystones down here now instead of up above. I still have a few spare, I think, actually. Yeah, these 5 ones are spare from upstairs. These 8 ones all come down here. So that's pretty nice. Let me grab these. And 6 seeds. Wait, 6. So that does occasionally give you a bonus. Oh, that's interesting. I could have sworn it only gave you the ones you had. Well, I will not complain about getting more ender pills, so me. So yeah, you may notice I've also got the distillery here, and if you remember, the distillery requires altar power. I don't see an altar around here. Oh wait. There it is, and it's actually up to 4,360, bearing in mind it's using the plain old overworld skeleton skull at the moment, so I can upgrade that a little bit. And it's got wheat, carrots, potatoes, belladonna, mandrake, and snowbell in a substantial abundance. If you have more plants around your altar, I don't know if I ever explained this, your altar gets more power, but there does seem to be diminishing returns. But 4,360 is more than enough for my current needs. I may at some point need to boost it up to maybe 7,000 or 8,000, but that will take a lot of stuff, so I may have a more dedicated altar for that. But for now, I've just got this, and just every now and then I'm coming up here and giving things a bit of a balls up, apparently. Okay. That's fine, we can handle that. Let's see, I have this water source here for actually filling this in, but maybe I'll have to leave it. Yeah, anyways. Grab that one, do that. Attach mandrake. Watering can. So the watering can is something from extra utilities. You make it empty, which is why it's not showing me the recipe right now. There we are. Water can empty. Bone meal or no bone meal, bowl, and 4 stone gets to the watering can. You then right click it on water to get it to fill with water. Occasionally it's supposed to empty, but mine hasn't yet. I'm not entirely sure why that is. And very helpful, just supplies a 1-tier growth bonus occasionally to the plant that you're watering, and that gives us a fairly stable food supply, which is good for our purposes, since we have now determined that we're going to be using cooked food to generate charge. But to do that, I think we'd like to get an AE system running, because these chests are getting a little bit unwieldy, and it would be very nice to be able to transport them in like a single, or maybe just 2 or 3 different ME drives. So we need power that will support our ME controller, which is the last thing that I was making last time, and I have actually managed to complete it. See, as it turns out, I was a bit of a derp, because if we go over here, we look around here, we see a bit of nether quartz, a bit of Certus quartz. What we don't see, because I'm completely blind apparently, is the blocks of nether quartz and the blocks of Certus quartz. Yeah, I may have gone a little bit overboard on the storage thing. But oh well. So yeah, we have plenty of quartz, as it turns out. So, don't need to worry about that for a while. So we have our ME controller, which means we can now plonk it down and have a look at the kind of powers it is able to receive. So the first is AE, which you can get from the batteries that Planogistics now has. And then there's Buildcraft power, which you get from Buildcraft engines and such. There's Industrial Craft power, which you can get from stuff like the geothermal generator, and the bog standard generator that we put inside of the old wheel in the last build. There's also Universal Electricity, which you can get from Mechanism and such. And there is Rotocraft, which I don't know that we actually have installed, so that's a thing. So what is this little thing over here? Oh, cage lamps, right, never mind. What I think we are going to use is the extra utilities as a bunch of different, let's see, it'll come up, eventually, there we are. It has a bunch of little generators. There they are, Survivalist, Furnace, Lava, Ender, Heated Redstone, Culinary, Solar Potions, It has all of these different generators, and they're all they're very well modeled, which is always a plus for me. They don't make any noise, and they're very well contained. So, I think we'll... well, the culinary generator is basically the extra utilities equivalent of a calorimetric burner. We can also use the furnace generator, the survivalist generator. Survivalist might be a good way to go, because that can burn wood and such. High temperature furnace is basically the upgraded furnace of the version of the furnace generator. Never star generator, exactly what it says on the bottle. And, oh, creative builds one, huh, that is. We might try using the ender generator, because if we have an excess supply of ender pearls, that might be a lucrative source of power. But anyway, let's get to building one of those. And what I think we're going to do is eventually we'll move down some cows or such, and we'll set up a Mine Factory Reloaded processing plant for them. And we'll just use their different products to power Charge and the AE system. And then I'll just use up the food up there for anything I need. So, let's see, let's go with the ender generator. We're going to need 3 ender pearls, 2 eyes of ender. Yeah, we can see I think we can work out what the ender section of that, but that's mostly katakana, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm getting good, I'm getting better with katakana, but hiragana is still my weak point. Of course, there's a block of iron. That first symbol must, I presume, mean iron, because I can't read it, and it's definitely kanji. And a furnace, and 2 pieces of redstone. The survivalist generator, the culinary generator, see if I can find it, there it is an upgrade of the survivalist generator, so there's a few of these are upgrades. But anyways, let's grab our stuff. So, we're going to need a blaze rod. I don't have any kind of macerator down here at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that shouldn't be too big of a worry, because we're only looking for a couple of things. So, there we go. That gets us those, and we also need a little block of iron, which I have a few. I actually, instead of here, I've stuck a bunch of clean iron gravel in here. I shoved that through our system, which I've cleaned up a fair bit here. So stuff comes over and it gets placed down there, and this is currently out of power because I haven't given it any food. So there you go. Generate some power for me. And that has generated 43 reduced iron chunks, so that's another 43 iron right there. Very nice. And oh yeah, stoned Ishi. I have been apparently informed. I have been cleaning up the walls of our well here. It goes quite far down, back to the limestone level, and I just kind of got a bit more sparse. But all of the sand and sandstone is gone, so that is nice to see. So things are a lot tidier. And can I get in this door, please? Thank you. Right. Okay, so we've got that. So now we need to make a furnace. Easily done, because I'm still carrying a bunch of cobblestone on me. And then we need 2 redstone. So there is 4. Get in there, please. And last piece, that gets us our ender generator. So the ender generator, unfortunately the GUIs are all work in progress on these, so it's a little bit difficult to tell exactly what they need, but it stores up to 500,000 power, and it will take ender pearls as a source of power. So that's a fair bit of generation there, better than the old build, the old one. So let's see, let's get this to... I'm not sure which one of these it applies to, really. I'm not sure RF is measured in this. But anyways, that can generate power. That is a lovely model. Looks like a very old camping kind of generator. Very nice. In fact, I think we have a large version of this for emergencies back home. Well, not the ender generator, of course, because that would be crazy. So now we need an ME drive to contain our ME data, and an ME terminal to access it. So let's take a look at the ME terminal. Go back a page or two. Oop, okay, things went wonky for a second there. Okay, we are looking for... Where are you? There's the drive. Crafting terminal, access terminal, there you are. Okay, that's going to require a conversion matrix, which has a basic processor, Fluix dust, I've heard Tyser X and Miles have been working with AE a little bit, and they keep pronouncing it Fluix or something like that. It's Fluix dust, it's flux. But they pronounce it really weird. Okay, conversion matrix. So, 4 iron, bit of nether quartz, bit of soda quartz, 2 Fluix, which you get from the dusts, which, since we don't have a grindstone of any kind here, I may have to forego. Alright, well, let me get rid of all of this junk that's currently inhabiting my inventory. I've started double and triple compressing stuff because I have so much of it. Okay, so 22 compressed dirt. Stick that in the packager while I'm here. Meanwhile, I also have 1 triple compressed cobblestone. Mushi Ishi, I think that says, or Ishi Mushi. 6 compressed and 1 double compressed. Actually, no, that's going to be a double compressed since that was 9, wasn't it? Where have you gone? Here you are. Doop, doop, doop. Thank you. It's a tremendous space saver. I don't know how useful it's going to be once everything's in an ME system, but it's a handy little thing to have. There. Oh yes, and sandstone continues to take up a ton of space because I can't compress that. I'm getting a lot of it from just digging this space out. But I also have 14 double compressed on that. Quite a bit. Oh, are you done? Okay, I'll give you something else to chew through then. How about some tin? Would you like some tin? There you go. And we might as well chew through the rest of this iron while we're waiting. There. Yeah, so the different food items that you give it a different duration. So, our baked potatoes aren't lasting very long, whereas our steak would last quite a bit longer. Okay, so let's make a grindstone, because apparently we're going to need that. There we are. Actually, I wonder if we can lacerate it. No, we probably can't lacerate it because we need it as a block, wouldn't we? Never mind. Anyways, we just need nether quartz or soda quartz dust for that. So let me grab some wood. I've been using alder for a lot of stuff because I have a lot of it as a surplus. But we could probably do with getting a tree farm of this stuff going. And then we need soda quartz. 1, 2, 3. And was it then cobblestone? Nope. But yes, actually that is cobblestone. Still getting the hang of that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Okay. Apply. Perfect. Grindstone. And we're going to need sticks to make a grindstone handle. There we go. Okay. Where should I stick this? Somewhere it won't be tremendously in the way, somewhere I can use it easily. Apparently they've made an update to Applied Energistics where you can actually have these sideways and it will still work. But we do not have that update, so oh well. Right, so to make our terminal, we are going to need 2 bits of nether quartz dust. So let me grab the nether quartz. These aren't translated, but the nether quartz is, so I'm not entirely certain which part says nether, which part says quartz. Break that back down. Not quite sure where the red goes, but apparently goes somewhere. Right. So someone in the comments, probably a couple of episodes ago by this point, mentioned the possibility... Yeah, that was quick. The possibility of someone watching the video and then passing the curse on to their friend, and then just them passing it back in a loop. Funnily enough, this has actually already been explored in the Ring media. There is I think it might be a Western thing, but it's called rings. And it is people who are passing the curse around in a circle, so that they see how far they can get into the week, and then they pass it on to the next person. And that has a fantastic, way of survival of getting through the curse without actually dying and just experiencing the weirdness and stuff that's going on, the supernatural in their natural lives. But then human nature creeps in, because in the course of Rings, they hit upon a problem wherein one of them, well, a few of them, really want to see what happens on that 7th day. And so they basically refuse to help this guy out, and he is subjected to the full horror of Sadako's curse. Okay, we also need a basic processor, which we can shapeless craft that way. Or we can just craft it ourselves using the basic processor assembly. So that requires silicone, gold, iron, well, gold, redstone. Okay, boop. Okay, let's grab that. Need a bit of gold. So by the end of this, the guy is getting really freaked out. The guy who's actually having to sit through this full 7-day period. So he starts calling everybody he knows. He contemplates showing it to a bunch of different people before realizing he'd be subjecting them to more or less the same thing that he's terrified of right now. I didn't use all of my stuff. Where'd it go? So it's quartz dust. There we are. Iron dust, tin dust, yeah. Got a bunch of dust, but we're going to be working in the silver, in the gravels for the moment. So I've got a bunch of that in now. It actually goes through them fairly speedily when you're not paying attention. So, kind of handy. But I think what I'll eventually do is I'll set up some kind of array for that. But yeah, passing it on in a cycle to someone else who then passes it back to you, perfectly plausible. Not the best of lifestyles, it has to be said, because Sadako isn't exactly a nice person to have wandering around your life. What you have to remember is in the course of this week, it's not a vacuum. Your life isn't normal. Sadako is still popping up in your peripheral vision and terrifying, like, scaring the hell out of you. Okay, we need the basic assembly, which of course isn't going to do that. Kind of a pain, but we can suffer through it. There you are. Basic processor assembly. Let's see, I'll stick that in there, and I've got a couple of slabs I could do with getting rid of. Okay. So yeah, she's like appearing behind you in mirrors, and she's warping your face in cameras. That's one of the other side effects of the Sadako curse, is people who are cursed by this, when their pictures taken in photos or videos, their face is distorted and blurred. In many cases appearing to be screaming and in terror. So consequently, you get this thing that it's not exactly the best thing to live with. It's not exactly discreet. It's not exactly something that isn't going to impact your emotional state on a grander scale. No, apparently none of those are going to work. Oh, wait, I'm missing an ingredient. I'm missing the nether quartz. There you are. Missing anything else? Soda's quartz. One bit of soda's quartz. There we go. Okay, and that gets us our conversion matrix. If you apply these to a storage monitor, it is what allows you to pull directly out of them like a barrel, which is pretty cool. Although I don't know if you can push into them as well. Okay, we also need some glass, some iron, and a bit of ME cable, which requires more glass. Fortunately, as I've already established, we have a heck ton of glass. Well, we have a heck ton of, well, mostly compressed sand, really. So let's stick a couple of those in. I got some coal. There it is. Okay. In you go. Right. So we need some more fluix dust. Not much, just a little bit. Which requires that. It's going to require some of that. My inventory is a litany of mayhem right now. Jeez. Let me stick this dirty into there. And mandrake into there. There's so much stuff I need to clean out of my inventory. Right. But we also need more sticks to make another handle. Easily done. Okay, new handle. apply, and where is my nether quartz? There it is. Let's stick just the one into that. Now it takes 2 rotations to get nether quartz. That'll be why it broke so quickly. Okay, redstone, nether quartz, quartz. There we go, fluix dust. So 3 of that, and 6 glass gets us our ME cable. And I'm just noticing, good God, has it gone dark over here? Blame that on the sun setting in winter, and also it would appear that some clouds have moved in quite substantially. Yeah, we have just plain old ME cable. I prefer when it's blue, but that's kind of probably predictable for me. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and a bit of cable, conversion matrix, and glass gets us our ME access terminal. So it's not telling us exactly how much it's using. Power is low, 7 AE per tick, or 3.5 EU per tick. There is a conversion rate. And now we need the drive, which should hopefully be easier to get. There you are. There's also the blast-resistant ME drive, which you can make courtesy of extra cells. And that's going to require 2 basic processors, so I think we'll call that a little bit of a break, because until I get something running to actually, like, auto-craft stuff, until I can get Newton back, we're going to be very, very slow on the crafting. So next time, I will have the ME drive. There's nothing particularly unusual in here to make it. And then we shall make a cell. Yep, there we are. So the storage is. And then we shall start shoving some stuff into its appropriate cells, and we can start tidying up, and we can start automating and doing a whole bunch of stuff that will be really interesting. And maybe next episode we'll even start looking at the force field stuff that we need to get a look into. So with that, I shall catch you all next time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and or a favourite. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to be notified of future updates. You can also check out the website where most other content is uploaded. That's all for now, catch you later.